Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to MTGO Traders. My name is Taryn, and this is Golgari Midrange for Modern. Welcome guys to Modern Melee. This is a video series where I take a Modern deck, do a deck tech on it, and then take it through some matches to see how it goes in the Modern format. Today's deck is of course Golgari Midrange, a very kind of mid-rangey, if you can tell by the title, a deck list that uses a lot of really good value cards to slow down our opponent in the early game and take advantage of the mid to late game with great cards like Tarmogoyf, Scavenging Ooze, and of course Liliana of the Veil. If that sounds like fun to you, make sure to like it if you like it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell icon to notify you when we have a new video coming out on the channel. We literally have new videos every single weekday, and I would love for you guys to check them out. And as always, these videos are sponsored by MTGO Traders and Cape Fear Games. Get your Magic Online singles from MTGO Traders and your paper singles and accessories from Cape Fear Games. If you guys ever wanted to play into Vintage, Modern, Commander, or Legacy, or even Pauper, a lot of those things are probably a fifth or sixth the price they are on Magic Online versus paper, so, you know, go for that. But let's jump right into the deck tech, guys. There are 13 creatures in this deck list, and let's go over them. First up, we have 4 Dark Confidant, 3 Scavenging Ooze, 4 Tarmogoyf, and 2 Tireless Tracker. Now, a lot of lists here like to go with a 4 of Tireless Tracker, but I prefer to go with a 3 of Scavenging Ooze in the early game in the main board instead of the sideboard, as the Scavenging Ooze life gain is quite effective in game 1. Dark Confidant is here as a great turn 2 play to draw some extra cards, be a great removal target against a Bolt, a Path, or a Fatal Push, and Tarmogoyf, of course, is our main attacker as far as a creature goes. Tireless Tracker is also a great way for us to draw cards, and of course to pump up a 3/2 into a 4/3, 5/3, and etc. Scavenging Ooze being in the main board also gives us the added advantage of being very good against Storm, being very good against Ironwork combo, and of course being very good against the Hollow One combo decks as well. Being able to exile cards from our opponent's graveyard as well as gain some life and make our Scavenging Ooze or Skoos a little bit larger each time is super effective and very useful in the format. Next up, we have Planeswalkers. We have 5 of them. We have 4 Liliana of the Veil and 1 Liliana the Last Hope. Now, the 2 Lilianas here are doing 2 different things for us. Liliana the Veil is helping with card advantage as far as keeping stuff out of our opponent's hand. This is very good against the more value-based strategies in the modern meta, as well as being able to sacrifice an opponent's large creature. Most of the time on turn 3, an opponent will likely have either a mana rock or mana creature on the battlefield, like a Noble Hierarch or a Lenmore Elf or something like that. We want to get rid of it with Liliana of the Veil, and of course start plussing to discard cards from our opponent's hand as well. Now, the downside to Liliana of the Veil is we're also discarding cards from our hand as well, so we want to be very careful with that +1, but at the same time, Liliana of the Veil is still a super powerful card in the modern format and something I always recommend in Golgari. Liliana the Last Hope, however, is doing something a little bit different. It's being able to kind of +1 and destroy a creature, so again, basically a mana producer for our opponent's side of the field, or maybe a smaller creature that we do not like, as well as being able to kind of grab some creatures from the graveyard, and of course the -7 can just be an end game situation if we do have the ability to have a +7 Liliana and of course -7 that Planeswalker. And thanks to the new legendary rules, both of the Lilianas can be on the battlefield at the same time, so very good, very effective, and of course always pushing forward by turn 3. Next up, let's talk about our spells. A lot of these are going to deal with hand hate, lots of board state hate as well, so let's get right into it. Starting with our actual destruction of creatures and property on the battlefield, or permanents on the battlefield as you would say. We have 4 Fatal Push, 2 Abrupt Decay, and 4 Assassin's Trophy. All 3 of these kind of do great things against the board state. Fatal Push is here for those Death Shadows, those are for the Tarmogoyfs, also for a Snapcaster Mage that's kind of being flashed in, and of course if we have a fetch land we can sack, Fatal Push can also grab stuff like Hollow Ones as well. Abrupt Decay is also here for anything with 3 mana or less on permanents. This is very good at being able to get rid of a Liliana of the Veil on our opponent's side of the field. It also can't be countered, so it's very good against the Jeskai control list and any kind of other Azorius control list as well. Assassin's Trophy is basically the path to exile in Golgari, a great card that destroys any permanent on the battlefield. This can be a land as well. Of course, our opponent does get a land out of this, so we want to be able to use this against mostly our Celestial Colonnades, against the more Azorius aggro lists or Azorius control lists, as well as any huge threat like a Hollow One or a Ironworks combo kind of situation. As far as hand disruption goes, we have 3 Inquisition of Kozilek, 3 Thoughtseize, and 2 Collective Brutality. So we could include Collective Brutality in here as creature remover as well, but we really like Collective Brutality in here as hand hate and just kind of pseudo life gain and life loss for our opponent. Inquisition of Kozilek and Thoughteize are basically doing the same thing in this deck list, being able to grab a high value target in the modern format. Thoughtseize is here to grab maybe a Karn or a large like Ironworks combo, something like that. Inquisition of Kozilek is here to hopefully grab either an opponent's other Inquisition or Thoughtseize, or grab something like a Blood Moon, something like that we do not like coming in on turn 3, 2, or even 1. All the spells in the deck list are doing one thing: disruption, making sure our opponent is slower than we are, so we can get out our Lilianas, our Tarmogoyfs, and continue to hit out until the opponent is GG. Moving on to our land base for the deck list, we have quite a bit of fetch lands here with 2 Windswept Heath, 4 Verdant Catacombs, and for our actual land destruction, we have 3 Field of Ruin in the deck list as well. For other lands in here, we have 2 Hissing Quagmire as a great man land for us, 4 Overgrown Tomb, and then 3 Blooming Marsh. Blooming Marsh here being the fast land, something you could probably take out if you wanted to and put in 2 more Hissing Quagmire. However, I do like having untapped land in the early game, so Blooming Marsh is in there for that. As far as basic lands, we have 2 Forest and 4 Swamp, and that rounds out a 24 land total. You could probably lower this a little bit for you if you want. I do like having a significant amount of land in the deck list because I do like hitting that turn 3 double black on the Planeswalker list. But that's the full game 1 game plan. Let's get into our sideboard and see what we can do. As always, folks, with the sideboard, this is just kind of a guidelines for the modern format. Not necessarily something I would recommend for your meta. Your meta may be different than the meta on Magic Online, but for Magic Online in tournament practice, we'll see what this does for us. Starting with some graveyard hate, we have 2 Grafdigger's Cage and 2 Surgical Extraction. Now, while Surgical Extraction isn't necessarily graveyard hate, it is a card that helps get rid of other cards from an opponent's graveyard as well as their hand and their deck. So if they have an Archive Trap and they're against mill for us, we want to go with a Surgical Extraction, get rid of Archive Trap as quickly as humanly possible. That way they can't cast follow-up versions of that. Same thing with the Tarmogoyfs, Scavenging Oozes, and of course the mirror matches for Liliana of the Veil. Grafdigger's Cage is here to deal with the Dredge matchups, the Hollow One matchups, the Bloodghast matchups, basically anything that's coming back from the graveyard. Arclight Phoenix is also something that's kind of coming up in the modern format right now, and Grafdigger's Cage can deal with that as well. So we definitely want it in here for that. To deal with combo and control, we have Bitter Blossom, 2 of, and a 2 of Damping Sphere. Bitter Blossom is here to be early game presence against a control deck, kind of representing a lot of attackers very quickly for our opponents, and if they don't have anything by turn 4 or 5 as far as a Supreme Verdict or something like that, they're really going to be suffering thanks to Bitter Blossom. And Damping Sphere, of course, is to shut down the Storm decks, the Ironwork combo decks, any kind of deck where they cast a lot of spells in a single turn, and of course shutting down Tron as well. For more creature hate in the deck list, we have 1 Liliana the Last Hope, 1 more of those of course, 2 Maelstrom Pulse, 2 Kalitas Trader of Get, and 2 Ritual of Soot. All of these cards are doing different things for us, but they're all mostly going to be used for creature removal. Maelstrom Pulse is here for the token-based matchup, getting rid of multiple copies of a single card. You could also use this for other matchups where they have multiple creatures like Hollow One or Bloodghast on the battlefield at the same time, so this is also very good for the Dredge matchup as well. Kalitas, Trader of Get, really works well with the Ritual of Soot card, so very good together with that, being able to kind of create an army with us while our opponent is also losing all of their creatures. So if our opponent is running Merfolk or if they're running a Elf list, Ritual of Soot will hopefully be able to deal with that quite handily as well. And 1 of Liliana the Last Hope in the sideboard again is very good to kind of sideboard out Liliana of the Veil from the main board to kind of hopefully deal with more creature hate on the battlefield. So very good, kind of shifting those balances a little bit for us while we go up against more creature heavy deck lists. But that is the full 75 for this Golgari mid-range deck list. If you're looking to build this on Magic Online, on MTGO Traders, this is coming to about 482 tickets. And if you're looking to build this in Paper Magic, this is coming to about $1,506. And as we know, the modern format is not yet on the Magic Arena software platform, so you cannot build this on Arena, only on Magic Online or in paper. But that concludes the deck list, so let's get into some matches and see how this deck performs. Alright guys, let's get into the matches for Golgari Midrange and see what we can do in Modern Melee. I'm always going to say it like that because of the Super Smash Bros. Reference. And yes, it's intentional. It's definitely on purpose. Going to go with a 4-land keep here in this deck list with a Collected Brutality on top. Have a Young Wolf from the opponent. This looks like maybe a green or like maybe a mono green Undying. Ooh, here is a blue green here. This is a blue green Evolve deck list. Let's get rid of Experiment 1 here. Might have been a mistake. Could have got rid of the Charter Course instead. We'll see though. Yeah, the Coast coming in here. They're going to attack for 1 and of course probably go with the Charter Course, drawing 2 other cards. So that is something we want to keep in mind going forward. Let's go with the Collective Brutality here, and then just go with the 2 abilities here. Get rid of the Wolf, have it come back as a 2/2, and of course go with a get rid of an instant. Oh, they have 3 creatures in their hand. Experiment 1, Avatar of the Resolute, and another Pelt Collector. This comes back as a 2/2, so the Experiment 1 and the Pelt Collector don't get the added ability there. So that's nice. They do hit us for 2 though. Let's bring in a Tarmogoyf. Currently Tarmogoyf is at 3/4 right now, so pretty good at being able to block stuff. So we'll see how this actually comes together. 3 cards in hand, gonna go with a land drop of the Coast again. Ooh, Unsubstantiate. They're bouncing our Tarmogoyf back to our hand. Drew into another Tarmogoyf, which is not bad. Let's get this out and then probably go for another Tarmogoyf. Avatar of the Resolute coming in is going to be quite the handful, especially with all of the Evolve mechanics on the battlefield right now. So 1 card in hand, and it's definitely Avatar here. Getting in for 2. Let's go with a kill there. The Pelt Collector comes in with a counter, and Avatar comes in as well with the counter itself. And of course, Experiment 1 and Pelt Collector both get counters because of that. Gonna go Verdant Catacombs here and hunt for a land. We do have Hissing Quagmire here as a great way to block them, so I think we might be okay with an attack for 1 creature here, getting in for 4. So let's go for that. Now they are top decking here, so we should be able to kind of bounce back with this match. We'll see though. They're gonna go with a double block. Let's get rid of the Avatar here. Now this does mean that Pelt Collector gets larger with the kill here, but we do want to get rid of all that big damage on their side of the field. So 1 card in hand here. Let's see. Got into a Young Wolf off the top there. Very nice. I'm assuming no attack though, thanks to Hissing Quagmire and of course our 4/5 Tarmogoyf. Scavenging Ooze is pretty perfect here. Let's go with a Scavenging Ooze and just start exiling creatures from their graveyard. Gaining some life, getting some tokens on the Scavenging Ooze. And go to Verdant Catacombs here and go for a Forest. And get rid of their, maybe Experiment 1 or our own creature, Tarmogoyf. It doesn't really matter. Either way, we get a counter, we gain a life. We have a 4/5 and a 5/5 here. Could attack in, but we're going to wait for a turn. I think that's fair too. 1 card in hand. And opponent's going to scoop it up. Nice. Let's go to game 2 here. Bring in Ritual of Soot. Just a great card to kind of round that out. Taking out Liliana of the Veil and the other Liliana of Last Hope. However, upon looking at it, we probably want to bring in Liliana of Last Hope since it can deal with those 1/1 creatures once they come in. Pelt Collector on turn 1 here. Got into an Assassin's Trophy. We're going to go with a Thoughtseize. We see Vapor Snag, Rapid Hybridization, and Pelt Collector and Chart a Course. I think Chart a Course is the card we want to get rid of. Let's go with that. 5 cards in hand for the opponent now. Got a Forest there. Attacking for 1. They drew into a Chart a Course. Oh, nice. Well, that's not good. We have Ritual of Soot here in our hand, so that spells good for us. Let's go with a Forest here. Tarmogoyf isn't that powerful, so we're going to go with a Scavenging Ooze first. Going to go with a Hinterland Harbor here. Young Wolf from the opponent, and a Pelt Collector. Let's go Overgrown Tomb here. Say yes. I think Liliana might be the answer here. Let's go Liliana. Let's go with a discard a card. I think we want to get rid of Assassin's Trophy here. Giving our opponent an option to either get rid of Vapor Snag or Rapid Hybridization. Blah, there's a mouthful there. Ooh, gonna go with a Hybridization, getting rid of a Pelt Collector, or Undying Wolf actually, and making both of the Pelt Collectors 3/3s thanks to that situation. That's not bad. Ooh, that was a bit of a misplay for us. We probably should have gone with a Hissing Quagmire, held up Assassin's Trophy instead. Opponent getting in here for lots of damage, getting rid of our Liliana. We're down to 9. We have Tireless Tracker, but I think that might actually be it. I think we're dead here. Yeah, we're dead. Thanks to us knowing they have Vapor Snag in their hand. So let's bring in Liliana the Last Hope, bring in Maelstrom Pulse, and just hit submit here. That little bit of a misplay ruined the game for us. Let's go with the Thoughtseize. We're going to get rid of the Haste Undying creature that's very hard to deal with. Pelt Collector off the top for them. Going to go with a Dark Confidant here. Would love to get into a green mana as soon as possible thanks to that Abrupt Decay and Tarmogoyf. We'll see though. 6 cards in hand for the opponents. They're offering the trade. We don't want the trade because we want to draw some stuff. Chart a Course from the opponent here. Getting into a Swamp and a Fatal Push. I like both of these. Let's go with a push on the Pelt Collector before they get too wild. And let's just get in for 2 here. That seems fine. Would really love a Field of Ruin, being able to get rid of a non-basic land on their side of the field. If they could play a coast or a harbor or something, that would be great. Another basic. Pelt Collector and Undying Wolf. Nice. We got into 2 green sources there. Forests for us. I think we want to go Abrupt Decay on the Pelt Collector. Or maybe Tarmogoyf first. Tarmogoyf is a 3/4 right now. We could offer the trade with the Dark Confidant with the Wolf, but I think it would be wiser to wait a turn. Keep in mind, Avatar of the Resolute only gets a counter if something else on the battlefield has a counter, so we want to be careful of that play. Raptor from the opponent there. Getting an attack in for 1. That was probably a bad idea. Yeah, because that does put all counters on everything now. Avatar, I think we want to go with a draw here. Got into too much land at the moment. Let's go Verdant Catacombs. This makes Tarmogoyf a little bit larger. We want to go Abrupt Decay on the Avatar. This does make the Pale Collector larger, but we should be okay. I think we want to go Scavenging Ooze here and just pass turn. Ooh, Vapor Snag from the opponent on the Tarmogoyf. That hurts a lot. Experiment 1 from the opponent. Another Avatar of the Resolute coming in. It is a 6/5. Let's go with a block on the 5/5 here. Down to 6. Down to 5 thanks to that Fatal Push. I enjoy the Fatal Push for the Avatar of the Resolute, but that's probably going to do it for the game. We're going to go with the Kalitas here, because if we do get rid of the Avatar here, we can get a 2/2 before the deal. Actually, let's go with the Raptor kill here. The Raptor is a flyer. The issue, though, is that they both have 2 creatures with trample, which is actually no bueno. That's probably going to do it there. So match 1, not too great, but still, you know, kind of wasn't too familiar with the Evolved deck and suffered for that greatly. We do gain some life here and get an extra turn, so if we get into a Ritual of Soot, we might actually survive, but if we don't, then that's going to be really painful for us. I am surprised that the opponent did not swing out with everything there. Yeah, Inquisition's not going to do it. Let's get into another match here. Very close, but no cigar. Let's get into match 2 here with Golgari Midrange and see how we do. Opening hand is a 1-lander. Thanks to the Inquisitions, I think it's a keep for us. We are on the draw, so that's not bad. Opponent's going to go with a life gain creature. This could be a Soul Sisters deck. We've got Knight and Stonecloaker. Probably a good idea to get rid of the Knight since they can play that next turn. Let's go with a pass here. We do get into Verdant Catacombs there as well, so our second land drop is online. Can go for that right now. And Tarmogoyf is already a 3/4, so already a pretty big threat. Let's go with an Inquisition, get rid of the other big creature from their hand, and then hold up a Fatal Push. Ghost Quarter is in their hand right now. They're drawing a second card, though, for the turn. Getting Wall of Omens off the top there. Very good draw from the opponent. Ghost Quarter for them. We could go with a Fatal Push here, but I think we want to save it for a second and just see what happens. Let's go Hissing Quagmire and go Tarmogoyf. It is a 3/4, so it can block anything on the battlefield at the moment. Opponent got into a land. Let's go Windswept Heath, sack that. Go for a, maybe just a regular Forest. We could go Overgrown Tomb, I guess, but we're going to go Forest. Go Liliana of the Veil here, and let's go -2 maybe? Just thinking. Let me go for the attack first and see how they dodge here. If they just go Wall of Omens, we're going to go Fatal Push, but they don't go Wall of Omens, which is good for us. So let's go push on that, and then -2, they sack the Wall of Omens. That's useful. There we go. Now this does mean that our Tarmogoyf is also a 4/5 now, thanks to the Fatal Push being in the graveyard. Opponent go with a pass. Very nice. I think we want to go with an attack first before we start plussing Liliana here. I like everything about our hand right now, so opponent is at 26, so it will be quite a bit of time to get them down, but we should be fine with a Scavenging Ooze. Yeah, well, since they have Amara on the battlefield, we want to be careful about all the creatures they have in their graveyard, so yeah, there's another land drop. 2 cards in hand here. Nothing. Going for a Flicker Wisp, okay. Now, if they Flicker Wisp the Tarmogoyf, which they will, we're going to Fatal Push the Flicker Wisp because we have Revolt on the Flicker Wisp. So that's very nice. Let's go with a plus here, discard our Swamp. They discarded a Plains. And we're going to just get rid of creatures from their graveyard. Opponent's at 13. That's it. Nice. Alright, let's go to game 2 here with the Sideboard game plan. We could bring in Bitter Blossom or Ritual of Soot. Both of those are going to do pretty good for this matchup. Let's bring in one more Liliana, the Last Hope as well, though. That helps against these 1/1s. Lower to the ground strategies. But Ritual of Soot is also a great card as well. Grafdigger's Cage could be good too. This could be like maybe a Amara Sun Titan style deck, so that could be something to keep in mind as well for game 2. We'll see though. Not really entirely sure what the opponent is on. Could be a Soul Sisters list. When I see life gain, I think that sort of Soul Sisters kind of thing where they gain lots of life. But we'll see. Opening hand has 4 lands, Tarmogoyf, Tracker, and Liliana of the Veil. Gonna go with a keep and pass to the opponent. Opponent's on the play. Tap land, we're gonna drag into a Assassin's Trophy. Let's go Overgrown Tomb and pass. I really like that as the pass here. Wall of Omens for the opponent. I think we want to go with a swamp into a Dark Confidant. Tarmogoyf right now, it's just a 0/1. There's nothing in the graveyard, so Confidant is really great here because it gives us a lot of card advantage. We will be losing some life, but it should be worth it. Nothing in the deck list is too expensive. No more than 3, I believe. Path to Exile from the opponent there. Ouch. That does give us a land, though, so that's good. Let's go with a Tireless Tracker here and play out an Overgrown Tomb. And then go into a Thoughtseize. Another Path to Exile. Ouch. Let's go Thoughtseize here. They have Worship, Stonecloaker, and Cathedral Sanctifier. I think we want to get rid of Worship here. This seems like the more dangerous card out of their hand. Stonecloaker is also quite good, though. Let's see, 3 cards in hand for the opponent. They're going to go Stonecloaker on their turn. Interesting. They're bouncing the wall there. That way they can draw a card. Let's go with a discard here. Assuming they'll discard the Sanctifier. They discarded a Sun Titan. Wow. Let's go with the Tarmogoyf pass. That was not what I was expecting there. But of course they don't have the mana to cast Sun Titan, so that makes sense, I guess. Getting in for 3 in the air against Liliana. We're going to go with a plus here. Discard a land. They discard a Panharmonicon. Opponent is all about multiple abilities there. Let's go with a Clue Sack here. Go Field of Ruin. Go Fatal Push on the Stonecloaker. And then go with a Sack on the Mara here. Get a Swamp and then get in for 5. Block with the 1/1. Very nice. 1 card in hand for the opponent. Oblivion Ring on Liliana. Abrupt Decay and Assassin's Trophy. Yeah, we have the perfect removal there. Let's go +1 here. Or -2 actually to get rid of the wall and pass. 1 card in hand. Laying a Ghost Quarter. Yeah, this game is over. We're going to discard a Field of Ruin and just get in for 5. What do you got at the top? Blade Splicer's not bad, but we do have Assassin's Trophy here, so let's go Assassin's Trophy, get rid of the Blade Splicer. This does just make a 3/3. Catacombs. We can just go with the -2 and get in for 6. Thanks to the Planeswalker being in the graveyard now. We're not offering lethal next turn, but we can offer lethal the following turn. 1 card in hand from the opponent. They pass turn here. Do they have Settle the Wreckage? They don't! Oh, man. Do they have anything? Are they just thinking out their options to a concede here? We have lethal. We don't have anything, though, if they deal with the Tarmogoyf. So if they have path, it could be bad. They're letting the turn pass. We're getting in for 6 here. Is that going to do it? Stonecloaker, okay. Okay, so they do have a blocker here, but they're gonna scoop it up. Nice. All right, let's get into game 3 here and see what happens. Having Dark Confidant in our hand there was actually pretty good because it gives us a good way to kind of bounce back if they did get rid of the Tarmogoyf, but they did not. Land for the opponent here. Let's go with a Hissing Quagmire. Thought Scour from the opponent. Oh, this is Mill. Nice. Anytime I see a Thought Scour cast against me, I always think Mill. Yep, this is definitely Mill with that Ipni Rivulet kind of representing there. Let's go Blooming Marsh into a Dark Confidant. We do not really want to go for a fetch land if we get into them because they might have archive traps. Yeah, Trapmaker's Snare, exactly as I said it. That's a card that's going to help them get into traps there. So they're probably going to use that in conjunction with Field of Ruins. Yeah, there's a Field of Ruin there to trigger archive traps. So we'll try and work around that if we can. Liliana of the Veil for us. Does it hit? 6 cards in hand here. Gonna go Logic Knot for 2. Very interesting. Let's get in for 2 here, drop them down to 17, pass turn back. 6 cards in hand. Looks like they're passing turn back once again. We're drawing into Fatal Push and Assassin's Trophy. I like both of these options. Let's go Overgrown Tomb. Try and go for Liliana again, if we can. Keep in mind, Liliana's really good here because our Fatal Pushes and things like that don't really matter as much. Remand. Oh, that hurts. Hurts so badly. Let's get in for 2 here. Opponent's being very smart with their counters here. Thought Scour from us, getting rid of a Verdant Catacombs, and a Collective Brutality. Another land drop from the opponent, 6 cards in hand. Field of Ruin on the Hissing Quagmire. We're going to tap it for that black mana. And grab just another black mana. We could have probably grabbed a green mana for Abrupt Decay, but there's an Archive Trap. There's another Archive Trap. Ooh, we have 16 cards in our deck list. Visions of Beyond! And another Visions. Oh, do they have another Archive Trap? They just drew 6 cards in a single turn. That's not good. Let's draw some cards here. We have 14 cards in our deck list, so if they hit another Archive Trap, we're just dead. Let's go +1 here. Discard probably Windswept Heath. Might be a good idea to also get the Field of Ruin out. There we go. Scavenging Grounds for us. Let's get in for 2 if we can. Not bad. 7 cards in their hand here. 5 mana. Are they just going to Archive Trap us, like, for real? Oh, no. Oh, they are! Oh, no, they just did, okay. They just bounced all of our stuff. That's fine. Tireless Tracker for us. Let's go Overgrown Tomb. Lay a land. Get a clue. Let's go Liliana here. Discard a card. We're going to discard Fatal Push. Got rid of Fraying Sanity from the opponent. Pass turn back. As soon as they get into an Archive Trap, we're just dead. So that's kind of all I'm waiting on here. Yep, they're Startled Awake, and that's it. Bringing in Surgical Extraction, Bitter Blossom. Let's take out Liliana of the Veil. And just hit probably Submit here after taking out a Dark Confidant. We want to be very aggressive with our Inquisitions here and our Collective Brutalities. So let's see what we can do here. Inquisition, get rid of probably the Snare or Visions or Fraying Sanity. Maybe Fraying Sanity first because we have Collective Brutality this coming turn anyway. Land for the opponent. Another Collective for us. That's very good. Let's go Collective here. They got Archive Trap, Snare, and Visions. I think we want to get rid of the... maybe Visions here. Keep in mind, they can only go for a possible 2 Archive Traps here, and they need, you know, another turn to do that. And with this Collective, we should be able to get rid of 1 more card. Let's see, though. Let's go Collective here one more time. Archive Trap and Snare. Let's get rid of the Archive Trap. Quagmire. Alright, then I go for the Snare there. They have an Archive Trap in hand, and of course they have Field of Ruins in hand, so they can trigger it. So, we'll see how that goes. Verdant Catacombs into our hand here. A card we cannot use because of the Archive Traps, so that's not good. Let's go Dark Confidant here, and Verdant Catacombs is coming in, but not being used. We probably should have kept that in hand, just to have an extra card for information's sake. But if they do use an Archive Trap this turn, we can sack the Verdant Catacombs anyway if they go with Field of Ruin activation. Sheldock Isle from the opponent. Going with a pass here. Let's draw 2 cards with the Dark Confidant. Overgrown Tomb is very nice. Let's get in for 2 first. And get out of Tarmogoyf. Assassin's Trophy can hit the Sheldock Isle there, so that's not bad. Let's see how they want to play this out, though. 5 cards in hand for the opponent. Down to 4 with that land drop. Keep in mind they have a Field of Ruin in hand and on the battlefield, so they have 2. In-step play for the opponent here. Nothing? Okay. Let's draw 2. We got Inquisition, which is not bad. Let's go for that and see what they can do here. Keep in mind the Inquisition cannot grab the Archive Trap. A Thoughtseize could, though, or a Collective Brutality, but not an Archive Trap with the Inquisition. Field of Ruin going for the Hissing Quagmire. We're going to tap out for green and grab a black mana from that. We could go with the Verdant Catacomb sack as well this turn. Archive Trap from the opponent. Let me look at your hand. Opponent's being very stubborn about this. Mission Briefing. Ouch. Let's go Verdant Catacombs here and grab a forest here. Mission Briefing, they're going to target the other Archive Trap that's in the graveyard now, so that's also a free spell this turn. Get rid of the Logic Knot. That hurts so bad. Oh no. Okay, 2 cards in hand here. They have a snare in their hand. Let's go with a Assassin's Trophy on the Shelldock Isle. And then pass turn after attacks here. Let's get in for 9. Drop them down to 9 so that we have lethal this turn. Do they have anything? We have 18 cards in hand. Or in the graveyard. Or in the deck, sorry. Yes, nice. We go to a game 3. Woo! That was getting me hyped up. I couldn't talk there for a second. Let's go for Grafdigger's Cage. Since we see that they have Mission Briefing in their deck list, we want to bring that in so they can't cast stuff from the graveyard. Because multiple Archive Traps is just deadly. 3 lands in our hand with a Bitter Blossom. I'll take that. Let's go Blooming Marsh and pass. Gonna go Thought Scour from the opponent. Another island play. We've got into a Thoughtseize. It's probably fair to go Thoughtseize here first. Snare, and Mission Briefings. So good. Let's get rid of a Snare here. And they're going to go Snare as well to grab 1 Archive Trap. They also have a Field of Ruin in hand. This deck is really consistent. We drew our own Field of Ruin. Probably fair to go with a Overgrown Tomb into a Scavenging Ooze. Get rid of a Snare here. That way they can't use it. They can use the other one with Mission Briefing though. Or Thought Scour here. Ooh, Hedron Crab being thrown into the graveyard there. Hedron Crab, one of the best milling cards, or milling creatures, in all of Magic. Field of Ruin from the opponent here. 5 cards in hand. How many Archive Traps do you have? Field of Ruin getting rid of our Blooming Marsh. Let's go for a black mana swamp. 1 Archive Trap. Mission Briefing. Grabbing the other Archive Trap. I hear ya. Ouch. Yep, Archive Trap once again. We have 19 cards in our deck list here. Surgical Extraction is quite good. We could grab Field of Ruin. I think that's a very good pull there for us. Because Field of Ruin does get rid of the ability for them to trigger Archive Trap. So that does turn off Archive Trap for the most part, unless they have 5 lands, which they're at 4, so it might have been a better idea to get rid of the Archive Traps instead, but we got rid of the other 3 Field of Ruins, which is not bad. But we can go with a Scooze here and get rid of a Snare from their graveyard. Go for a Field of Ruin and go Bitter Blossom, get in for 2. Not a bad turn for us, but not great, particularly. Frank Sanity from the opponent here. 0 cards for that, of course, into a Hedron Crab. Do not like either of those. Let's go Bitter Blossom, get a 1/1 out of that. I think we're going to go Assassin's Trophy on the Crab. However, Frank Sanity is not great either. Keep in mind we have 17 cards, so either way, it's going to be difficult for us. Let's go Dark Confidant, get in for 2. 1 card in hand from the opponent here. They did mill us for 1 though, or 2, I think. Let's see, 2 cards in their hand here. Oh, Rivulet. So they're just going to sack Rivulet and mill us for 8. Not good. Not good at all. Alrighty, getting into Blooming Marsh and Collective Brutality. Let's go for a Hedron Crab, get rid of that. Gain some life, of course, make this larger. I think we could go with a Collective Brutality hit here. I grab something out of their hand if they have something. Let's get in for that much damage. Go Collective Brutality. What do we have in hand? Just a land. Alright. What do you have off the top? Crab into... oh, that's going to do it. So Crab into a land drop there. We have 0 cards, and that's going to do it. GG. That was awesome. Alright guys, those were the matches. I hope you did like them. I really loved the mill matchup. That was such a close matchup for us, and really enjoyed how that deck list actually operated. Very different than most mill matchups. I feel like having the mill or the trap kind of search card within the actual deck list is actually quite good. So very cool idea there for that deck list. And of course, I hope you enjoyed the matches. Like it if you like it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and make sure to share this video on the social media platform of your choice. As always, these videos are sponsored by MTGO Traders and Cape Fear Games. Get your Magic Online singles from MTGO Traders and your paper Magic and accessories from Cape Fear Games. All of this help keeps the lights on and the content rolling out. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. I love you all, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.